We're happy that despite the inclement weather, we're all here, and we will begin our event this afternoon. We are, and Jean Solomon, your MCs for this afternoon. Together, we're committed to highlighting, and indeed very privileged to have been asked to take you to a place behind the walls of Her Majesty's Cayman Islands Prison Service, where so much has been accomplished under the theme of today's auspicious event, Literacy Empowers a Nation.
Literacy is a key level of change and a practical tool of empowerment of each of the main pillars of sustainable development. 1, economic development, 2, social development, and 3, environmental protection. From the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Why is literacy important?
Literacy is a human right, a tool of personal empowerment, and a means for social and human development. Educational opportunities depend on literacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to welcome you to the Cayman Islands Prison Service Literacy Day. Literacy empowers a nation. Are you happy about that? Yeah. Are you happy about that? All right. So we will be riding or cruising, and you know when you're in an aircraft, the pilot says we'll be, at an altitude of X. But you know what? We are on ground. We are not there. So we will be taking you up there to an altitude of about 20,000 miles of Earth. Eh? All right. Can we invite Miss Cathy Gomez? She is the prison chaplain, and she'll be taking us into prayer.
A warm welcome for Miss Cathy, our chaplain.
Thank you, Miss Jean and Brother T. Welcome to everyone. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we pause before you to thank you for this day and to thank you for your presence here with us today. We thank you for each and every blessing that you give us, for each and every talent that you give us. Father, we give you thanks for our teachers and for all those who made it possible to be here today. We thank you for the inmates in this prison who have chosen to seek higher levels of learning, and we pray for their continuing resolve and strength to press forward towards their individual goals. We ask for your blessings on all that is said and done here today. May our talents be used for the betterment of your kingdom here on earth, and to your honor and glory. Your goodness is everlasting. Your love is supreme. And we thank you most of all for the gift of your Son who died for our sins and who gives us new life and love within our hearts. Forgive us, O Father, for the times we have failed. Come into our lives. Renew and refresh. Heal our nation. O Father, be with us now as we continue in this ceremony. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you, Miss
Cathy.
Cathy.
And she is the chaplain for the Cayman Islands Prison Service. How are we doing this afternoon? How are we doing this afternoon? All right, you know what? Not to worry. We will be soaring. As a matter of fact, we will be having the national song and anthem, and that will be done by some wonderful people. Of course, our chaplain, she just left here, and then Derri.
A committed Derri. We're happy always to have you, and we will ask you to come on the podium and join us as we do our national song and anthem. Miss Derri, Miss Cathy.
Please stand as I sing the national song. O land of soft, fresh breezes, over the country so fair, with the Creator's glory reflecting everywhere. O sea of palest emerald, merge into darkest blue. Whene'er my thoughts fly Godward, I always think of you, dear verdant island set in blue Caribbean Sea. Oh, I'm coming, coming very soon. Hope you just house to thee. Although I've wandered far, my heart enshrines thee yet. Homeland, fair Cayman Isles, I cannot thee forget. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow, Tessan has nothing over you. We're going to get you on the Cayman's voice very soon.
The voice.
Thank you so much for that one.
And you know what? It starts with literacy. We're all in a classroom, right? We're in a classroom right now. It's the chapel of the prison, but I'm taking us to class right now. And you know what? There is always a little Johnny in a class. And the teacher in a class always, you know what, seem to be, for the want of a better word, pick at Johnny. But this time, Johnny is the one that picks at the teacher. And so Johnny says, "Teacher, do you know how to spell hard water with just 3 letters?" I don't see any hands going up. We have a lot of teachers here. Any teacher? Anybody can spell hard water with 3 letters? Oh, so you see, just like what happened in the class when Johnny was there, he got the teacher. The teacher said, hard water with 3 letters. Johnny said, okay, it's easy. It's I-C-E.
It's ice.
It's ice. Hard water is ice.
Literacy empowers a nation.
All right, so you see what we're traveling. Our deputy
Director of
Director.
Rehabilitation. A warm welcome for the one and only Miss Natalie Aduke Joseph Caesar.
And she will be doing the welcome for us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Winston Connolly, Counselor in the Ministry of Education, Deputy Director of Prisons, Mr. Neil Lavis, and all other special invited guests. Literacy is a fundamental human right. It empowers people to make right decisions towards economic growth, social development, and environmental protection. Her Majesty's Cayman Islands Prison Service Literacy Day, devoted this year to the connection between literacy and empowerment of our nation, provides us with an opportunity to remember a simple truth. Literacy not only changes lives, it saves and enhances them. Literacy helps reduce poverty and enables people to find jobs and obtain higher salaries. Literacy facilitates access to knowledge and triggers a process of empowerment and self-esteem that benefits everyone. This energy, multiplied by appropriate opportunities and training, is essential to the future of our society. Today, 781 million adults worldwide are illiterate. Many are unable to read a single sentence, even though half of them had spent 4 years in school. What kind of society do we expect to build with illiterate people? This is not the kind of world we wish to live in. We want a world where everyone can participate in the destiny of their societies, gain access to knowledge, and enrich it in turn. To succeed, we must also change the traditional approach to literacy programs to encompass, beyond reading and writing in the narrower sense, broader skills with regard to consumption and sustainable lifestyles, the conservation of biodiversity, poverty reduction, disaster risk reduction, as well as civic participation. In these ways, literacy programs can unlock their full transformative potential. Literacy can empower our nation. Commitment to these goals will be central to enhancing and providing opportunities for offenders for sustainable development upon their re-entry. Literacy will also be at the heart of HMCIPS training to ensure that offenders are prepared for acquiring skills for employment. HMCIPS is working across the prison population to ensure that literacy is integrated into all offender development programs. New technologies, including online learning, also offer fresh opportunities for literacy for all. We must invest more. And I appeal to our ministry to redouble financial and strategic efforts to ensure that literacy is fully recognized as one of the most powerful accelerators of sustainable development for offenders. The future we want starts with the alphabet. Welcome. Our director, Mr. Neil Lavis, and the entire HMCIPS Literacy Crusaders is delighted to have you here to participate and share in the 4th annual Literacy Day celebrations. That many of you have taken time out of your busy schedule serves to remind us all just how important our work is. Prepare yourself to be challenged, excited, and inspired. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Miss Caesar. And I trust that you're all feeling the warmth from her wonderful welcome. We also have the director of the prisons, Mr. Neil Lavis, and he'll be coming to, give you a greeting. Make him feel welcome right now, please.
Thank you. So many glasses here. Okay, good afternoon and welcome to HMP Northwood. Protocol being set, I'll go straight in. So welcome to our Literacy Day. Events like this don't happen by accident. There's a team of people who have worked really hard to put today together. And I wanted to start by thanking them. All members of the prison staff and the inmates have worked very hard for today. In particular, the rehabilitation team. And if I don't normally mention individuals, but Michelle Dennis Powell has worked extremely hard to bring this all together. So I'd like to thank her personally. As this is a literacy day, I would like to start it off by saying a poem that means something personally to me. And it's about how you judge yourself and how you present yourself. Our prison moral code is decency, integrity, commitment, and excellence. And this poem speaks to integrity. It's about how you judge that integrity. It's about your moral compass. It's about doing the right thing. And it also shows that you can fool others, but in the end you have to face the truth, and that's the truth judged by yourself. So I'll just go into this poem. When you get what you want in this struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment of you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the guy staring back in the glass. He's the man you must please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear up to the end. And you've passed your most difficult and dangerous test when the man in the glass is your friend. You can be like another and chisel a plum and think you're a wonderful guy, but the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. You can fool all the world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. I just thought I would share that with you. I think that's a personal thing that you can reflect on. Yeah, thank you for today, for allowing me to do that, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of this Literacy Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lavis, for that enlightening thoughts that you shared with us. We now will move into some of our talents within the prison walls, and we have a special selection from Letitia Jarrett and Nathania Cholette. May I invite these ladies up to the platform. I'm not hearing. The rain is falling, but guess what? We're alive inside here. Let me hear it. I call them my babies, and so these two young ladies are going to take you into some real-time talent.
brought me this far to leave me. And then I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. He didn't bring me out here to leave me lonely. And even though I feel that I just can't give up now, I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Not only are our inmates with talent, but we have a teacher, Ms. Powell. Now I know. Thank you for letting me know. I'd just like to acknowledge Mrs. Catherine Dinspell Powell, our chief officer, a very, very committed chief officer. Please give her a round of applause. She's always here with us. And you lead by example. And Miss Daphney, you're not going to get away. The famous Aunt Sookie.
All right, all right, all right.
She's not even aging, so I'm going to try to find out what you're using, Miss Daphney. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go on into this event.
There is a brother. I call him a brother.
A brother.
You know, I want him to get into the church and be saved.
Mr. Edwards, where are you? A special selection from this young man. A round of applause, please.
Ryan Edwards. Give it up for him.
I told you the voice has nothing over Her Majesty's Prison Services. We've got the talent in here. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Music, please. Reaching out for us. What would I do without your smart mouth? Throwing me in and you're kicking me out. You've got my head spinning, no kidding, I can't pin you down. What's going on in the beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride. And I'm so dizzy, don't know what it's me, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I am out of my mind. 'Cause
The prison?
What? Here, encore?
Encore! Mr. Edwards, please. Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards. Just one more verse. I'm touched.
By popular request.
This has got to go in history. Let's go.
What would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and kicking me out. You've got my ear spinning. No kidding, I can't put you down. What's going on in the beautiful mind? Oh, and your magical mystery ride. That I'm so different, don't know what it's been, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm doing fine. You're crazy and I am always behind. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. All your curves and all your edges, all your curves that seem to fashion. Give your heart to me, I give my heart to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me. Hey, you give me all of you. Hey, how many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful. World is beating you down and I'm around for every move. You're my love song, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. Kiss of singing is ringing in my head for you. Cards on the table, we're both showing heart. Risking it all, though it's hard. All of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your heart to me, I give my heart to you. You're my end and my beginning, even when I lose and win it. 'Cause I give you all of me, yeah, and you give me all of you, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards and Miss Powell.
You know, there was once in this family, this man, he had his wife, and you know what, his wife, is one of those persons who, she is on top of her life. That is, she takes care of the home really, really, really well. Unlike some of us ladies, you take care of your home really, really well. So it happens that her husband was subjected to her, which is, ladies, that's good for you, right? So if she says to him, you know what, Tom, I hope nobody here names Tom. Tom, I need you to wash the dishes. Tom would just do a good job. And Tom, I need you to clean the house. Tom would, do it. Tom, you haven't cooked. What are you cooking? Oh, I made the food, right? So it happens that Tom's friends came and visited him. And you know what? They saw that, his wife was really on top of things. And you know what? So, when they left the house, they met up with Tom. And I said, Tom, no, man. We come to your house and we don't like what is happening. You're a man. You need to take leadership position in your house. I mean, I came and you know what? I saw your wife just giving you orders, and you just like a little boy, just a do. And I saw the thing work. Apparently, they had a Jamaican accent. Therefore, Tom said, you know what, man? I'm going to stand up for my right. They said, Tom, yeah, man, you need to do that. So Tom went home. After a day or two, his wife, Tom, the dishes need to be washed. Tom said, I'm not doing it, you do it. Okay. Tom, no food, you need to cook. I'm not cooking, you are the wife. You're supposed to cook and take care of me. Tom, sweep out the house. I'm not doing it. So the wife said, wait, you get feisty. So the wife rushed into the kitchen now, grabbed a frying pot. In Jamaica, they say a Dutch pot, right? And you know what? She went after Tom, and Tom rushed onto the bed, and Tom says, you know what? It's about time. I am the man of this house, and I'm not watching it, and I'm not coming out. Under the bed he was, speaking with that. Ladies, ladies, ladies. I don't know if I should tell you to take possession of your house. I don't know. But brothers, you need to stand up, all right? We're here, of course, for a reason. And it's Literacy Day in the Cayman Islands prison. And this could not be possible, first of all, without the contestant.
Yes.
And we have some wonderful contestants, right? And where there is a competition, there has to be some judges. All right. On our right, we have some fantastic people.
And Mr. Clive, roasting, can you stand up for me, sir? I'd like to see you. I think we all like to see you.
All right,
and
that's
then
one of our judges.
Mr. Marlon James.
Yes.
Miss Marsha Palmer. Miss Karen Edie Turner. Judith Lewis, one of our own. And the last but not least, the man himself, Cayman's Got Talent, Mr. Noel Smith.
Wow. Wow.
A round of applause for all our judges.
So those are the people that definitely are responsible for the outcome of this. All right? So we trust their judgment. That is why we have them here. And the contestant don't have to worry themselves because you will be judged based on your performance. All right? And the contestants.
We will not, it's going to be a surprise, so we'll keep that a little secret for about a minute. We'll invite Mrs. Lavis to come to the platform to do our first reading.
All right. Put your hands together for Mrs. Lavis.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to be reading you a short story today called A Father and His Son. There was a small child who was brought up by his father. His father was a highly successful and extremely bright businessman. He was about 50 years old with dark brown hair and deep brown eyes. He was a very neat man, but he rarely smiled. He was strict, impatient, quick with anger, and very passionate. These attributes all contributed to his great success in business life, but at the same time, the same qualities led him become a not very pleasant father. He drove the newest Mercedes and had the fanciest suits. He was incredibly wealthy. As he traveled a lot, he didn't spend a lot of time with his son, but the boy was compensated with expensive presents and private schooling. This was the way his father expressed his love for him. The son got used to getting everything he wished for. When he turned 21, he was getting ready to graduate college. For many months, he had admired a beautiful black sports car in a dealer's showroom, and knowing his father could well afford it, he told him that was all he wanted. He went to see the car every day for weeks. He took the car for a test drive. He smelled the leather seats, imagined buying it, and taking it home for the first time. He took pictures of it and put them on his wall. As graduation day approached, the young man awaited signs that his father had purchased the car. He was full of excitement like a little child. He had absolutely no doubt of getting what he wished for. Finally, after days of waiting impatiently, on the morning of his graduation, his father called him into his private study. He sat him down on a designer brown leather chair and looked deep into his son's eyes and said, "I am very proud to have such a fine son." And for the first time he said, "I love you." His son, not even hearing the words, waited impatiently for his present. After all, he was used to expensive presents, but his father expressing his feelings were unknown for him. Finally, the father handed his son a beautiful wrapped gift box. The son held his breath back whilst quickly opening the box. He had his dream car floating before his eyes. As he opened the box, he found a book called "Put Your Dream to the Test." He was disappointed, almost shocked. He threw the book on the floor. Angrily, he raised his voice at his father and said, "With all your money, you give me a book?" and stormed out of the house, leaving the book behind. He moved out of the house immediately and went on his way. Many years passed and the young man was very successful in business, like his father. But business was not all he took after his father. He was strict and impatient with his own children, as his father had been with him. He had a beautiful home somewhere in the countryside. One day the man realized his father was very old and thought perhaps he should go and see him. He had not seen him since that graduation day. They hadn't even spoken a word since then. The father hadn't even met his grandchildren. Although the son decided to contact his father, he kept putting it off. Many times he walked to the phone, took it up, sat down on the white leather sofa in the living room, looked at his wife for support, and dialed, holding his breath and shaking. But before the phone could ring, he hung up. This went on for weeks until one day he received a telegram telling him his father had passed away and willed all of his possessions to him. He needed to go home immediately and take care of things. When he arrived at his father's house, sudden sadness and regret filled his heart. He went into his father's study, where they last spoke, and thought about the last words he heard from his father. He began to search his father's important papers, and in one of the drawers he found the still new book, just as he had left it years ago. He sat down on the same chair he was sitting those years before and recollected his memories of the situation that had separated them. With tears rolling down his face, he read the title, "Put Your Dreams to the Test." Then he opened the book and began to turn the pages. After the third page, he saw a hole in the book with a car key in it. It had a tag with the dealer's name, the same dealer who had the black sports car he had desired. On the tag was the date of his graduation and the words, "With love to my precious son, who made me so proud today." Many times we prejudge people we meet and things we experience in life because they are not packaged as we expect them. We make drastic choices based on misunderstandings or simple ignorance, and let the emotions resulting from these guide us. My advice to you is to stop for a moment and think before you make overall conclusions of a person or a situation, and most importantly, learn to forgive yourself and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Lavis. Learn to forgive yourself.
Something worth thinking about, and it applies to every one of us in this room. Before I do start the moment that we've been waiting for, our contestants are going to be coming up shortly. There is an icon in this room, and I'd like to acknowledge him. Very unassuming gentleman, very distinguished, very quiet, but he's here with us today, Mr. Kipling Douglas.
All right.
An icon of our judicial system for years, and many of us who know him, he has dealt with a system, we call it, very fairly. And so we must acknowledge Mr. Douglas.
You know, I have a Johnny joke again. Here comes Johnny at his teacher.
No.
Johnny says, "Teacher, what is the longest word in the dictionary?" You know, the teacher says, "Well, that is rubber band." Johnny said, "You think you're smart." "No, teacher. Don't you think that rubber band stretches to a limit and therefore it stops?" "Teacher, the longest word in the dictionary is everlasting." And we're talking about literacy empowers a nation. So if you want to be empowered, let's all read, 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 and learn. Hey?
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. I am very honored and very humbled this afternoon along with my co-host, to acknowledge Her Excellency, Mrs. Kilpatrick, and you've made it through the rain, Madame, and we're very grateful. And to our Deputy Governor, Mr. Franz Manderson, a very, very warm welcome to you both. And we're very happy to have, I'm not sure of your name, Madame. May I have your name? Okay, Miss Joanna, welcome as well. Thank you so much for making the journey to be with us today. We are very, very honored. And before we call our contestants, would like to ask Her Excellency to come forward to present us with her reading. Warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to read a poem. It's by the Caymanian author Nasaria Saku Shalet. But I won't be doing it in a Caymanian accent. So you have to imagine that bit, but it's a very nice Cayman poem. When I was rising up with the pink-tipped cloud and pushing through inland bush, when I was cutting tops and plaiting thatch and sewing baskets and making rope and ragging rugs, when I was busy living, I didn't know that I was making history. Lord, I did not know. When I was stomping up to highland grounds in wamped feet and waltzing over cliffed rock, when I was pulling up roots and planting back and cutting hands and mashing flesh and boiling dumplings whole, when I was busy surviving, I didn't know that I was making history. Lord, I did not know. When I was cutting, catching, crying, climbing, washing, wading, waxing, kneading, knotting, mixing, mothering, fathering, feeding, flinging, backing, bartering, battening, budgeting, baking, bearing, loving, I didn't know that I was making history. Lord, I did not know. But now that I'm older, wiser, grey, I want you to know all of them sucker trees, plants and roots you harvesting come from my grounds. And I am the mother of your reaping, gathering, hoarding, grazing, amassing, gleaning, grabbing, living good. I was making history. Lord, I did not know.
Thank you.
Indeed, I did not know. Her Excellency just said the dumpling. And so she has a bit of the Caymanian accent. A round of applause again. Right. Thank you so much.
And that's what happens when you stay in Cayman. Whatever we do here, it actually rubs off. So you know what, when Miss Kilpatrick goes back, you know, she'll be losing her accent. And say, you know, I was in Cayman, Bo. All right, we have some wonderful contestants for this afternoon's program, of course, and we will be calling the first contestant to do his display, and that is in the person of...
Can anyone guess?
Uh-oh. Phillip Rose. Let's welcome
Rose.
Life is not easy talk or a cakewalk. Don't be bad-minded or sit and fantasize. Education is power, use it and be wise. I did not attend college, but I have wisdom and knowledge. Education helped me with my new passion, the Rosace collection. Yeah. Fashion icon, the sugar cane dawn. Yeah. Let's get it. lock me in a prison cell, mama, for no reason, mama. They lock me in a prison cell, mama. Oh, Lord. Reel and come again. They lock me in a prison cell, mama, for no reason at all, mama. Railroad me, railroad me, railroad me, railroad me. They lock me in a prison cell, mama, for no reason at all, mama. Come down road me, come down road me, come down road me. I am a fashion icon. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like the fashion icon. I wrote this song for Junior. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like the fashion icon. I wrote this song for Junior. Why do you love that person? You have to listen. 3 meals give a TV play. Legally lawyer get paid. Don't be a fool. School is school. Knowledge is not a cesspool. No. Railroad mistake. Railroad mistake. Railroad mistake. I am a fashion icon. Stop the railroading. Proper investigate the crime. Then nature woman bahalakaye. Come down road, human rights is here. Remember, education runs the world. Your goal in life is to learn. Educate yourself. Stand up for your rights. Step in a delight. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like a fashion icon. I wrote this song, not Junior. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like a fashion icon. I wrote this song, not Junior. It is the plan, come to the exam. Road for the educated man. Take the time to prepare for the dog-eat-dog world out there. Educate the brain, slowly no pain. 9 plus 9 is 18. Railroad mistake, railroad mistake, railroad mistake. In Miami fashion icon. Down the road in Miami City. You look at the fashion icon in the city. Freedom around the corner lane. Sugar cane man make them insane. They make the laws and break the laws. Legal and cover outlaws. They need a real sunny staycation in North Riverton residence location. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like the fashion icon. I wrote this song, not Junior. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like the fashion icon. I wrote this song, not Junior. Stop the railroading. Proper investigate the crime. Dead age of woman or bahalakaye. Come down road, human rights is here. Money laundering and street corruption. Send you a northward. Railroad, railroad, railroad. I am a fashion icon. In church Sunday morning. Deep on Monday morning. With the rail fooling. Free fashion icon. He's a new educated dog. The only thing you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like the fashion icon. I wrote this song, not Junior. The only thing you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, educate yourself like the fashion icon. I wrote this song, not Junior. The only friend you have is God. Your money and your Bible. Oh yeah, come down road, missy. Come down road, missy. Come down road, missy. You sugar cane down.
Our next contestant, Mr. Devon Anglin. A round of applause for Mr. Anglin. Lots of talent on this Literacy Day.
Morning, everybody. Or afternoon, I should say. Afternoon, sorry. Yeah. Here. Here we go now. I write this. You still rapping, doing like this. Homie, I pick up this mic this. No competition in sight. Yeah, I started out young, watching from the sideline. Now it's my time, getting big on my lines. Homie, I'm fly, can't stop my shine. Cause I'm hot, boy, I'm live back downtown. Can't knock my ground, prison, homie, I fine. I'm a blow boy, going home and I'm signed. Teachers in my school knew I was a wise guy. This is my faith, think I was made with right ground. Start in the morning, rock, all the kids night time. I get going, get flowing down the pipeline. Way above the others, I'm pipeline. They ain't got my altitude, they ain't got the black time. Homie got that beat, all the lyrics I find. I'm a G5, man, watch me as I climb. Take a seat, I'm full throttle to a destination. DTV, bringing proud to the nation. Everything that I like, yes. You still rapping, doing like this. Homie, I pick up this mic, yes. No competition inside, yes. Everything that I write, yes. You still rapping, doing like this. Homie, I pick up this mic, yes. No competition inside. Now it's a trouble. And now I think I said it before. Been all professional, then I step in the door. Man, every year that's been on them records for show. Yeah, you better know not to mess with the flow. I'm the best at what I do, nothing less than the flow. So much this is in my neck out the flow. Man, you ain't gotta ask me to check out the go. T-E-B, put it next to a O. Yo, I rock shows, won't rest till I flow. And you wanna see me smile while collecting that dough. Man, I'm headed for the throne, can't express to the flow. Either feel it or you get it, either yes or no. Yeah, second row, man, they head to below. First feel up to your best from my head to my toes. But it's our presentation, our demonstration. The literacy, the benefit, animation, boy. Everything that I write, yes. You still rapping, doing like that. Homie, I pick up this mic, yes. No competition inside, yes. Everything that I write, yes. You still rapping, doing like that. Homie, I pick up this mic, yes. No competition inside. So before I go left, I sat and broke form. Then up on the beat, I popped and broke form. Simple with an instrumental was folk form. Now I'm all grown, so let's get the show going. Mic on fire, all you see is smoke blowing. Yeah, we both knowing you gon' go in both form. All them other folks, nothing but a joke form. And beat, get on the beat, man, ain't no whole form. I do this in my sleep, to me, it's so boring. Then you start to speak, the people all snoring. Every time I rap, I feel like I'm touring. I'm a star, matter what people want calling. Want to rock mics and speakers, my calling. Yeah, these soon as I'm screaming, I'm falling. Now it's just the basic, and I ain't gotta say it. They literally, they bring the power to the nation, homie. Everything that I write, yes. You still rapping, doing like that. Homie, I pick up this mic, yes. No competition inside, yes. Everything that I write, yes. You still rapping, doing like that. Homie, I pick up this mic, yes. No competition inside, yes.
Mr. Anglin, contestant number 2.
I saw everyone rocking, and I looked at my deputy governor, and I saw his foot going like this, and I'm saying something is happening. If that is contestant number 2, I don't want to see 3 and 4 and 5
and 6 and 7.
We've got talent.
That's
a round
right.
of applause for 2 contestants.
Great, 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 great.
And now I would like to invite our Deputy Governor, Mr. Franz Manderson, to do a reading. Mr. Manderson, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to read a part of a poem or of a book from a storytelling rundown, also by Ms. Nasario Sookie. It's called A Hole in My Belly. Actually, that's what I have now. I haven't had lunch yet, so it's appropriate. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet village, there lived a sweet little girl named Gigi Sunshine. She and her parents lived in a quaint wooden house, delicately adorned with intricate lattice work. Her father had just put a new coat of paint on it, white and baby blue. Gigi's father was a carpenter by trade, while her mom was a baker and sold pastries in the local market. The Sunshine family had a great life together, and Gigi could not imagine being any happier. They had a great family traditions, like early morning prayers in the field amongst the flowers and the dew, and hot Johnny cake with honey for breakfast on the back porch. They always had so much fun, Gigi covered with crumbs, and Mama Sunshine warning Papa Sunshine about his ever-expanding jelly belly. But Gigi's favorite tradition happened every evening after the work and the chores had been completed. Gigi, Papa Sunshine, and Mama Sunshine would gather in the backyard under the dew plum tree, pile into the swing, and snuggle up together. Gigi would rest her head against her father's jelly belly, plop her feet on her mother's lap, and watch the sun disappear beneath the sea. One morning, Papa Sunshine told Gigi that he had to leave their village for a while to do some carpenter work in another village far, far away. He was the very best carpenter around and always had work waiting on him. Of course, Gigi was very upset. Her father had never had to travel so far before, but this time he would be away for many months. Tearfully, she wished him well and watched him ride off down the lane on his donkey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manderson. And this is so befitting because right next, after that reading, we have something 101 to call Jelly Belly Sookie. Aunt Sookie, let's give a round of applause for Aunt Sookie.
For Aunt Sookie. Here she goes.
The lady with the plan. Jelly Belly, plan, Sookie, lookie.
Girl, I said, what a time I'm having. Now, you know, let me tell you this now. I don't want everybody in the world to know, you know that, but you know I'm looking a husband.
So what are you doing now? What are you doing now?
Darling, you got try your best. And at my age, if I don't hurry, I ain't gonna get none. So I told the other girl that they said, I don't want to die an old maid. So what do you think she looked at me and said, well, darling, one thing you can be grateful for, you wouldn't die a young maid again. So anyway, darling, they told me about this man now up to Windad. And I said, who is you say? He said they call him Slocum. I said, forget it, don't need him. I said, the name is enough, the name is enough. So anyway, she start telling me then about this other one. And so I said, well, is he got protein? Say, well, actually he missing some. Say, don't need him. Don't need him neither. No. So the next one then what you call again? Propose. Next one she proposed was this one that when I was on the iron shore getting fish. And so she said, that's him over there, you know. I said, that one I seen, that hombre that I see standing there.
Hombre, that's okay.
So what you think now, I had on this pants, 4 inches too short. That was bad enough. Had on 2 socks, one was up halfway his leg, another one down by his ankle. I said, don't need him. If he don't dress good, I don't know him. But anyway, darling, somebody would tell me about a Jamaican. So I said, well, I guess nothing beats a trial but a failure. So anyway, I was hoping, girl, that somewhere around here, it might find some Jamaican that might be able to give me little advice. And so, if there's any Jamaicans out there, I need one. So, if I can get one Jamaican, because somebody was telling me that was a good man, say he named Bustamante. So I said, Bustamante, good leader and good provider and proper good man now, you know. So, come here a little bit, you from Jamaica? Yeah, I was wondering if you know about a man that lives in Jamaica named Bustamante.
Yes.
He's a good man?
It's me, actually.
No. It got to be an older man. I do not rob the cradle. But I need little advice. This Bustamante that you call him, is it true that he's a good leader, good and stuff?
He's a good provider.
Oh, he's a good provider. Good man, you would say he's a good man.
Good provider, good man.
Good man.
Good Jamaican man.
Okay, but let me ask you this now, because I heard about how good looking he was. He was tall, his hair wasn't straight, it wasn't kinky, it was just wavy. And then I said, well, that's pretty close to Caymanian, because you know how Caymanians is. They're not going to dead straight hair, hardly any kinky hair, just pretty wavy hair. But I was looking for somebody because I said he's a good man, but I said to myself, so you say his name is Bustamante? Yes, But let me ask you something now. You don't need to tell everybody that I asked you this, but let me ask you this now. Is it true? Now, I tried to understand the Jamaican much as I can. So I said, Bustamante, eh? So let me ask you something. So I started talking to Jamaican to him. I says, what you tell me, sir? Is true that him bust up the man teeth? And he said, no. So I said, but how you get a name like that but bust the man teeth? Is that true?
Boy, that's true.
Don't need him either gone.
That's okay. You want me to tell you a Bustamante joke?
Go ahead, darling.
Gee, he said to the people, he said, who give you bread? Who give you B-R-E-D?
Right.
And somebody behind him said, Mr. Buster, he left out the A. So he said, he looked at him and said, who gave you B-R-E-D-A? Did you hear that?
I see. I thought you want to say that he said, who gave you a bread? But anyway, he's got good sense. What do you call humor? Humor? That what you call it?
Humor.
Oh, humor. Anyway, darling, I'm looking for an Englishman. I got to tell you the God's truth in my heart of hearts. I am looking for an Englishman.
All right.
So if there's any Englishman out there, I need you up here. I need it.
Mr. Lee, let's just call you.
I need, it can't, because let me tell you, there's clocking around here, you know. Oh, we got plenty of them. You mean tell me now, not got one pretty white Englishman nowhere around here? He's a proper good-looking man. Yeah, and you're graying too, so I don't think I would be robbing the cradle.
I'm very mature, man.
Very mature? Good for you. Now listen to me. Did you go to the place called University? Is that what?
No, Sookie. University.
University. University. Oh, but that sounds better called University. You don't want to be any worse. You went to the, God bite your lip for this one. Okay. Did you go to the university?
I did.
Oh, you did? How many years you were there?
4.
4 years. Did you went to some place that the name of it was something to do with a bridge? No. Because somebody tell me if I could find someone that went to this school, a bridge. I know it said something about him coming to a bridge. Yes, because it said he went to Cambridge. So that means he came to the bridge.
I know that one, yeah. That's not me.
That's not you.
No.
But the university that you went to is a good place.
Yes.
Huh? Now, this one, they tell me after he went to this bridge, they had came to this bridge, he went to a place called Scotland Yard.
Okay.
Is that a good place?
Depends what you're there for.
I see. Well, what I was thinking, come here, darling, come here. Because you got to get in on this with me, and I don't got much time left.
What happened?
Need a hair or to look for a husband. But the man, you say goes like 4 years.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then afterwards say he went someplace else. And I said to myself, you mean to tell me you're going to get a proper good education, go for 4 years, then another 4 years, and you going to go and work in Scotland Yard? But what kind of yard that is? I know a friend that lives next door to me in West Point. He can't even write his name, but boy, let me tell you, he knows how to clean a yard. And then Mr. Julius Caesar, that lives a couple of doors up from me, but he can't sign his name. But what a man know how to do a yard? So tell me why this man would have to go to the bridge 4 years, then go another place. Is this Scotland a king or what?
Is what?
The Scotland that owns the yard that this Englishman is working for, is he a king? I remember hearing something about the king of Scotland, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, go on.
Uh-huh. Boy, you really know that much help. I need to speak proper English. Can you tell me, sir? It's a place called Bridge, and you have to come to the bridge, and you have to you go to the bridge for 4 years.
You're going American. You're turning American, the accent. Keep going.
Okay. You have to go to the bridge, and then after the bridge, you I guess you cross it plenty times, and then you go a few more years, and then you work in the Scotland Yard. So the only thing I can understand that would want you to work in Scotland Yard would be money. So if he's not a king of Scotland, why do you think this Englishman that I have my eye on would want to work for Scotland Yard?
Interesting.
That's okay. That's okay.
I not get much help out of you.
It must be one of them. That must be one of them White Sand Yards.
The White Sand Yards? Yeah. Well, in that case, darling, that's mean you go. You know, sir, thank you very much, sir. But you know what? I believe that I will find my husband in West Point.
Wow, I know we can do a lot better than that. And you know what? What's the theme? What's the theme for today? And I hear it. All right. Literacy empowers a nation. Are you happy to be a part of a nation? All right, cool. So you know what? We're down to contestant number 3.
Yes. Mr. One and Only. Where's he at?
Mr. Contestant number 3.
No.
Thoughts of a prisoner. I regret every second I've spent in jail. No canteen, no visit, and surely no bail. Disappointing my mama because she know I fail. Looking out in the prison yard from the classroom rail. I chose to be rebellious and took the wrong route. Now it caught up with me, and I isn't afraid to speak the truth. Mama did her best, and she raised us well. I didn't want to listen, so drugs I started to sell. It was great at the start, but that soon came to an end. Who I thought had my back were surely not my friend. One thing led to the next, and not too long after was too late, I ended up behind this big steel gate. For now, the judge and the prosecutor, they held my fate. I, not knowing law, had to sit and wait. It seemed like my worst nightmare coming true, as I sit in my cell without a clue what to do. If only I had listened to all God's rules, mainly honored my mother and father, I would have stayed in school. Gotten a proper education and held a steady job. There wouldn't have been a need to steal, sell drugs, or rob. But coming to prison, I got time to think. I really didn't need criminal activities or to smoke and drink. What I needed is a great life, serve God, my kids, and also my wife. Being away from my kids, I felt so much pain. I would rather grow my kids than the fortune and fame. Teaching them what I missed, though I knew all along. Stay in school, study your books, you can't go wrong. And with much hard work and dedication, education without hesitation surely empowers a nation.
Indeed, that touched every one of us in this room. And it's coming from the heart. I saw the emotion coming from Mr. Rankin, and it was heartfelt. And so we want to acknowledge that he is speaking from his heart. A round of applause again. Next up is contestant number 4.
Give it up for contestant number 4.
Mr. McLean, one and only.
Hello. Afternoon. Yeah, afternoon again. They said literacy empowers the nation. I don't care how much time that you're facing. I want to keep your head up. With God, with hope. I want to keep it fit. I want all the blue suits to stand out with me because I got a good song for you. I wrote this one personally. Miss Kilpatrick, I see you. Alright. Sure. They gotta let us out one day. They gotta let us out one day. It might not be Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, but someday. They gotta let us out one day. They gotta let us out one day, yeah. It might not be Monday or Tuesday, no Wednesday, but someday. It is what it is. I can't believe we got myself off with the feds. Case up in the prison cells with 2 separate beds. I jeopardized everything. It is what it is. I can't believe we got myself caught up with the feds. Case up in the prison cells with 2 separate beds. I jeopardized everything. The media assassinated my name. Oh, can you feel my pain? This guy is really dark. I wonder if it's going to rain. Things just haven't been the same. Anyways, I just gotta go with it. Anyways, I just gotta flow with it. I was up to the top of the stairs when I dropped the stairs. That clock brushed off my knees and I'm still going. I'm still moving. I'm improving mentally and physically. I don't think they hear me. This is history in the making right here. I mean, I need these people to know that there's a lot of potential and a lot of talent that needs to be discovered here. Mr. Lavis, I see you. Yeah. I know after today that y'all gonna wanna do this more often. Well, I haven't been saying that, but I'll probably be here next year. They gotta let us out one day, one day. They gotta let us out one day, yeah. It might not be Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, but someday. They gotta let us out one day, one day. They gotta let us out one day, yeah. It might not be Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, but someday. It is what it is. I can't believe we got myself caught up with the fence. Caged up in the prison cells with two separate beds. I jeopardized everything. It is what it is. I can't believe we got myself caught up with the fence. Caged up in the prison cells with two separate beds. I jeopardized everything. The media assassinated my name. Ooh, can you feel my pain? The sky is really dark, I wonder if it's going to rain. Ooh, things just haven't been the same. Anyways, I just gotta go with it. Anyways, I just gotta go with it. I was off the top, I'm slipping the drop, I'm standing, my brush off the knees, and I'm still going, I'm still moving, I'm improving. Mentally and physically, I'm not feeling so into me. I'm interested, you wanna be crazy. I'm a young, smart man on the rise. Literacy equals dollar signs. I don't know about you, but I got to get mine, and I got to get paid. If you want me to go around, truly feel it comes but straight to the New York Times. And the way that I travel, I rest the Cayman Islands. Gotta look up young individuals, so they gotta turn to crime. Try to elevate your mind and get yourself ready for your crime. Another fact, bounce back like you never ever did. Fell off and get your mind right. Guarantee you people will say you said love for me until that day. I got to remove all of these obstacles off my way. Literacy powers a nation, yeah. They gotta let us out one day, one day. They gotta let us out one day, yeah. It might not be Monday or Tuesday, nor Wednesday, but someday. It is what it is. I can't believe we got myself caught up with the fence. Caged up in them prison cells with two separate beds. I jeopardized everything. It is what it is. I can't believe we got myself caught up with the fence. Caged up in them prison cells with two separate beds. I jeopardized everything.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. McLean.
Sookie snuck under the judge's arms, and I think she found her Scotland Yard.
All right.
Would like to call Mr. Sheldon Brown, who's going to make a special presentation to Her Excellency, Mrs. Helen Kilpatrick. Mr. Brown.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Governor of the Cayman Islands, Miss Helen Kilpatrick, Honorable Franz Manderson, Mr. Winston Conley, and special guests. Good afternoon, Miss Kilpatrick. This is my fourth book, and it's based on sex trafficking, the plight of women around the world who is being trafficked, and against their will, actually. Some of them are duped, and I'm trying to bring it to the forefront of the international community and hope that some of these things may bring or implement policies that can stop it. You're in power, a woman, and I know you'll do your best to help as well. So I'm just here to present this book to you.
Thank you very much, and it's brilliant that you're bringing such an important issue to the forefront, and I shall certainly very much look forward to reading it. Thank you.
it's Literacy Day. How are you feeling? Congratulations, Mr. Brown, on your 4th book. As a matter of fact, I thought I would have about 10 books written already. Seriously, I started, but I'm still not sure where I want to end. I'm still trying to, pass the content page. And if he can do 4 books, that's a lot of achievement, don't you think? Let's put our hands and, congratulate Mr. Brown.
We will not actually take the Honorable Judge away from Aunt Sookie, but would like to call you to do your next reading. Mr. Kipling Douglas, ladies and gentlemen.
Just by chance, I have the last book I've written here. And oh, yes. The last book I've written here. And there's a short story in it that I'd like to read. Thank you. It's called The Fathers. This happened many, many years ago when I was not on the bench for long. And I've written these stories of cases that I have done through the years. Well, this was an early one. It's called Fathers. Yes, I better hold this, yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, that's fine. I was conducting court in a place called Sandy Bay, Jamaica. A seaside village always on midway between Montego Bay and Lucy. When a woman came before me claiming maintenance for 2 of her children, the man she had named in the plaint as being the father of the children was not in court. He was not in attendance. But as required, I set a date for taking of evidence in order to determine whether or not he should be adjudged to be the putative father or not. When I glanced down at the plaint, I discovered that both children were born on the same day. I see that they are twins, I commented. No, Your Honor, was the quick reply. They are not twins, they are triplets. Triplets? I asked in astonishment. Well, what of the 3rd child? Why are you not claiming for him? No, Your Honor, only 2 belong to him. The other one belonged to my husband. What are you saying? Come, my good woman. That doesn't make any sense to me. Well, you see, Your Honor, one day I left Sandy Bay and went to Montego Bay, and that man sexed me. Then the evening I left Montego Bay and I came back to Sandy Bay, and my husband sexed me. So you see, Your Honor, it's 2 for him and 1 for my husband.
Wow! Ladies and gentlemen, it's Literacy Day at HMP Northwood. But can anybody tell me why a math book is so unhappy? Nobody knows, right? A math book. Oh, Miss Pinspell, she knows it. a math book has a lot of problems. And can you tell me what is a teacher's favorite nation? She needs explanation. And on that note, Miss Jean, can we invite Mrs. Dinsbell? And she'll be doing a reading. Put your hands together.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to read you guys a short story, and it's another one by Sookie. It's called Liz McConan. Unto every child that is granted life is also given a divine purpose. Some of us come into this world knowing our purpose. Some of us figure it out along life's travels. And some of us pass over into the next life, never figuring it out. In a faraway kingdom lived a young boy named Liz McConan, cousin to the heir to the throne. He was born knowing exactly what his purpose was, and that's what made him different from all the other children in the royal court. They thought that he was very strange. He never had much to say to anyone and preferred to sit quietly away from the others and study. He even looked different, with a large head, huge thoughtful eyes, and a very sharp nose and mouth. His classmates often teased him, but he never let that bother him at all. By the time Liz McConan was 5 years old, he had read the Bible from the beginning to the end. When his tutors questioned him on assigned readings, not only could he answer all of their questions, but he could also quote references from books they had not even assigned. 3 times a day he prayed, and the rest of the time he studied. The children of the court didn't just read books, however. They also played sports, learned how to play chess, and even took cooking lessons. But Liz McConan's favorite subject was painting. When the tutor asked the students all to paint fruit in a bowl, Liz McConan's work always turned out so mystical. No one could really understand it, but just looking at it brought them peace. When the tutors asked them to paint a scene, Liz McConan's was so spiritual, no one could name the place, but all of them yearned to be there. When the tutor asked them to paint a figure, Liz McConan's was so ethereal, no one could explain it, but everyone felt they were looking into their own self. One day, the tutor decided to challenge the students even further. She asked them to paint freedom and left them in the room for 1 hour. One of the students painted a set of broken shackles, suggesting freedom from all types of slavery. Another student painted an open door. The prince painted a ribbon floating freely in the wind. When it came to Liz McConan's painting, everyone was quite surprised. He had painted a beautiful white dove locked in a golden cage. "Oh, McConan, that has nothing to do with freedom. That bird is in a prison," scoffed one of the students. Liz McConan didn't even respond. He simply stepped to one side, flicked his wrist, and the image of the door on the painting flew open. The drawing of the white bird came to life, flapped its wings, and flew right off of the picture and out of the open palace window. From that day on, the teachers of the court took special interest in Liz McConan. It was clear that God had sent him to earth with special gifts, and they turned to him for understanding on religious teachings and sought his advice on important governmental matters. The news about him traveled throughout the world, and soon the king took a special interest in him. By the time Liz McConan had reached the age of 13, he was governor over an entire region and went on to be a great emperor in all of the land. So you see, everyone who comes to the earth comes with a divine purpose. I wonder what yours may be.
Thank you, Ms. Catherine. And I look at Mr. Connolly, Councillor Connolly, very quiet right there looking at everything that's happening. I'd like to call him to the platform to do a reading for us. Mr. Connolly, a round of applause, please.
Thank you, Ms. Jane. Good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure to be here. You don't realize just how much talent you have in the Cayman Islands until you get it all in one room. right? And I have to take my hat off to everyone who's performed so far. It was very heartwarming, and I'm very blessed to be here today to share this moment with you. So thanks again for inviting me. The title of this book is Hurricane Coming. That Friday morning was as hot as could be, and a funny old haze was hanging down over the sea, and that sea was dead calm. Not even a little hot breeze would blow them sea plants. And do you know one other thing? For weeks, we had seen hundreds of red crabs on the move. Piles of them were crossing over the road, and then, in the night, we see tons of toads. But let me tell you this one. That don't mean rain. All of them were clear signs of a bad hurricane. Well, Kaka was busy trying to make one old cassava cake. But it was so hot, it felt like she was going to bake. Tokyo was just going up on the bluff. But in his heat, Kaka figured he'd be back soon enough. Then, just as Kaka put on her cake in the caboose, Tully came flying into the yard like an old wild goose. Kaka, did you hear what's happening? It looked like we were going to get hit by a bad hurricane. What do you say, Tully? Kaka asked. Hurricane coming? You know, I just told Tokyo that this morning. But tell me now, how you know for sure? Because my little old radio don't even work no more. Well, Tully said, I just came from Mr. Byler's shop. And if his barometer get any lower, it's likely to pop. Apart from that, Mr. Byler just heard the news bulletin. Yeah, Kaka, another one coming again. Well, thank you, Tully, for letting me know. At least we got some time to pack up and go. Try get some boys to go get Tokyo off his ground, because that old fool is probably up there messing around. Okay, Kaka, Tully said. Don't you worry yourself. Just start packing some canned foods off your shelf. Then Tully took off, and that old rickety bicycle of his, once again, like some kind of monster, was chasing behind him. Anyway, Kaka grabbed that old croquet sack and started throwing in all that she could pack. She grabbed some canned beans and a jar of mango. She threw some hard-dough bread into next to the cans. Then Kaka got her wampers on her chimney pot, and by the time Tokyo got there, she had just stopped. Kaka, Tokyo hollered, what do you say we're gonna get a hurricane? Man, I bet you all we're gonna get is a little rain. Yeah, Tokyo, Kaka snapped. That's what you think. That hurricane is likely to be here before you blink. And it took so long to come. Thank goodness I got all the packing done. Try to go to the well and get us plenty of water now. Then we gotta make our way to the cave somehow. But a little later, that sky had already started to turn black. And Kaka wondered if Tokyo was ever gonna come back. I wonder where old Tokyo is. Only the Lord knows what goes on in that mind of his. So poor old Kaka finally had to go and see where in the world Tokyo could be. And do you know where she found him? My dear, you're not gonna believe me. Even when I do tell, that fool of Tokyo had fallen down in the well. Well, Kaka looked down into the well, and all she could see were Tokyo's eyes opened up as wide as could be. Tokyo was screaming, Kaka, Kaka, help me quick, for this cold water is gonna make me sick. Hush, Kaka snapped. Just what you say you're gonna get? You do so much foolishness, you're gonna get yourself killed yet. Anyway, Kaka quickly lowered the bucket down before the poor fool Tokyo drowned. But by the time poor Kaka managed to pull him out, all kinds of things had already started blowing about. The air was full of leaves blowing around, and somebody's old shoe nearly knocked poor old Kaka down. That's when Tokyo hollered and said, Come on, Kaka. For something else hit you upside your head. Tokyo, Kaka replied, if it wasn't for all the foolishness you do, I could already been up in the bluff a long time ago too. So Kaka grabbed her old croquet sack and started dragging all the things she had packed. By now, the wind was howling and blowing, and everything was blowing around. And Kaka made sure it was going to blow her house down. So she grabbed Tokyo and they headed for the bluff. And from that sky, they couldn't get there quick enough. Well, by the time they reached the caves and it started to pour, and Kaka was glad to get there because poor Brute couldn't run anymore. Kaka's older brother, Glennie, and his wife Lil, they were already in the cave, and they had all the little things they wanted to save. And it was a good thing, because they had already set up their little camp. Poor old Kaka had even forgot to bring his kerosene lamp. Glennie's grown children were there, and his grandchildren were too. My dear Lil had already started to share out some of the steamed callaloo. I gotta fast forward this for a little bit because it's a bit longer than they told me. And I don't want to bore you too much, and I want to see some more of these contestants. So, well, Tokyo, Kaka said, I hope you learned a lesson here today. You should listen to your elders, come what may. But Tokyo just said, Kaka, I knew that storm wasn't ending. I was frightened, you know. I was just pretending. Well, that made everybody laugh till they were holding their bellies, because even while Tokyo was saying that, his legs were still shaking like jelly. Kaka, what are we going to eat when the hurricane finish? Well, Tokyo, with all these dead chickens around you, it looks like dinner going to be chicken feet. Well, after that, everybody finally made their way off the bluff, with Kaka and Tokyo still arguing about all kinds of stuff. Now, they were going to see what kind of damage the hurricane had done. But at least with Kaka and Tokyo in that cave, the waiting had been pure fun. Kaka, you must be mad. I might be hungry, but I ain't hungry that bad. Suddenly, Kaka let out a shout. Tokyo, you better look where you're going, you old fool. Look out. Oh, Kaka, help me please. My legs gone numb, right up to my knees. Well, I guess that's what happens when you don't hush your mouth. Because poor Tokyo had stepped on a washed up puff fish with all the prickles sticking out. Yeah, Tokyo was in trouble again, and it all started because of that bad hurricane. And that's the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Connolly, for sharing.
And we're at contestant number 5.
Number 5, Miss Letitia Jarrett.
Can we make contestant number 5 welcome to the podium, please?
While Letitia makes her way up to the platform, I'd like to acknowledge our community partners and our agencies, community rehab staff. Can I see you? Community rehab. Department of Children and Family Services, Miss Leonora, don't hide, I can see you. Our AIDS Foundation representatives, Miss Marilda. And new on the block, the Director of the National Workforce, my boss, Mr. Brian Holland. Thank you so much. And now to contestant number 5.
Good afternoon. Literacy empowers a nation. Sorry. Literacy, literacy, what lies beneath your will, an ancient mystery unveiled to those who seek you. Knowledge of those who obtain you, worthy as precious stone, but priceless in all extent. Although you're not tangible, your characteristics are shown through elevated individuals in intellect, taste, culture, and arts. Beautiful minds from ancient to modern times. Great leaders, poet, writers, literacy was their master key. Literacy and arranged marriage for every nation to overcome. Our circumstances through education. It's our basic human rights, empowered individual, wherefore, for generation to generation, literacy involves from composition books to laptops to iPods. Digital literacy information is in the corner of every nation, business, schools, and homes. Digital literacy information paved the way for effective communication, and access for literacy indeed empowers a nation.
Wow, that was contestant number 5. Give it up once again for Miss Jarrett. And now for contestant number 6 is no other person than Kurt Ebanks. Give it up for him.
Good evening. I want to do a poem that I wrote. It's called Literacy Empowers a Nation. They came like a thief in the night and stole me from my home. Fighting and screaming, they beat me all the way to places unknown. Separated from everyone I love, I find myself in a land full of hate. Tormented and tortured, my soul screams, but I know in my heart it is too late. They put me in chains, and with a whip, they peel the flesh from my bones. And from sunup to sundown, I slave all day, and no, I'm not alone. There are thousands of us, all in groups, as far as the eyes can see, broken in spirit as a nation, yearning once more to be free. So we begin to fight back, at first with our hands and our feet, but they have guns, and we would lose with them hanging us like a piece of rotten meat. As time went by and the years flew by, bit by bit we began to realize that true power and the answer to our prayers lay right before our very eyes. It was simple. We just had to gain their knowledge, speak their language, learn their ways, then we would know real power and become stronger with the coming days. But in order for us to do so, we had to first learn how to read. So by playing dumb and hiding in the shadows, we taught one another, filling each other's needs. Then we began to read their ideas, their thoughts. We even read what they had planned. And that's how we came to discover our rights as a human being in this here very land. So we began to fight again, using their own rules and laws as ammunition. Fighting for equal rights and justice, we backed them down, never lacking in ambition. 400 years of oppression has made us determined and even more proud. And we demand our rightful place in society, standing tall right here in the crowd. We are all human beings, a part of God's wonderful creation. We laugh, we cry, we even rejoice as one nation. With literacy as a tool, we have proven that we can't be stopped. And yes, we may have started at the bottom, but now we are here at the top. So in closing, I just want to say, knowledge is there for the taking. It is never too late. I can read today, and look at me now. I am the President of the United States.
Oh, how blessed we are to have Mr. Obama in our midst.
Lots of talent in this here today. I mean, we're hearing expressions of truth, and it's all coming from the heart. Last but not least, we always save something.
Poem in Spanish. We have some Spanish people in the audience and Spaniard too. Its name, Prisionero sin Horizonte. I wrote it. That's lie. The person who wrote it, I don't know neither. Anyway. Prisionero sin horizonte. Oigo los ruidos de la calle y veo solo un cielo hostil y el blanco muro de mi cárcel. Huye la tarde en mi prisión, una dulce lámpara arde, estamos solo en mi celda, vea luz razón adorable. Okay, well, many of you, the majority of you don't understand this, sure, but I'm going to explain, you know. The first time I read it, I had to read it around 3 days straight to get the message. The first part say, prisionero sin horizonte, it sounds sad, it's like, in prison without a vision. Oigo los ruidos de la calle, I heard the noise on the street. Y veo solo un cielo hostil, I only can see a pretty calm sky. Y el blanco muro de mi cárcel and the white wall of my cell. Huye la tarde en mi prisión, the evening go in my prison. Una dulce lámpara arde, a beautiful sweet lamp burns. Estamos solos en mi celda, we are alone in the cell, me and my lamp. Bella luz razón adorable, beautiful light, beautiful reason. I read it for several days, and when I notice it's like, that light, there is a man say that he's the way, the truth, and the life, and the light. That's Jesus Christ. We're probably in prison right now, you know, but as a personal experience, I can tell you, trust in Jesus Christ, and we will be free, brothers. You know, some people say something like, we should use this day, you know, to speak and say things that we want people to know, you know, different people coming here, but I will say, Jesus is our Savior, and He always wants to listen to us, and He's there for us. So, thank you all, brothers.
Thank you, Mr. Maz. Again, we're getting some messages. Mr. George Evans will do our next reading.
Good evening, my friends. Welcome, Mr. Conley. I just want to read this story. It was written by me 2 years ago. There was a taxi driver driving around on a Sunday evening looking for fares. He came upon a young man lying on the side of the road. Someone had hit him. The taxi driver was a Christian man. He drove the young man to a nearby clinic. When he got to the clinic, he got out of his car and ran inside for help. A doctor came out along with a nurse and a child. He told them about the injured man in his car. Come, doctor, he said. But the doctor said, wait a while. Doesn't he have insurance? The taxi driver said, I do not know. But he needs medical attention or he will die. The taxi driver remembered a nearby hospital. When he arrived at the hospital, the young man was pronounced dead. Someone gave him the young man's address. Then he started to see the young man's family. Before long, her husband came home. She told him about what had happened to their son, and he was dead. The father remembered the taxi driver came by the clinic with this injured man. He never attended to the young man or looked at him. All the while it was his son who was injured. Focus on one day at a time, then tomorrow repeat what you did today. Good leaders are not restricted by the way things have been done in the past. Their leadership is a continue and search for the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans, for sharing. Mr. Simpson, Our final selection. Round of applause for Mr. Simpson.
Yeah, good one. Run it.
Missionary, connecting words with verbs, just like a dictionary. Spiritual uniton, expeditionary, scientific and morbid, ain't a part of military. Two paths but one train, see the passion of one man. Speaking the truth feels so unchained. Became a team in my brain, but it seems like one vein. Not I can't hold, but I goes by one name. Differences in one game, a lot of heat but one flame. I aim at it with one thing, no gun game, stay one lane, so untrained. People getting hyped up on one's brain. Hear two different voices and they talking through one brain for one flame. You just flow that I let go. As I fill myself up, baby, no more than let's go. And let's go to show a bro that if it ain't so, then I know who is the most high. You hear me? I know. Remember 17 with different dreams. It seems I wouldn't be the scene, and now I see the scene. I hold the faith they on me. There's a light, a spark this. I believe in the supreme being. Not the one who's casting the chains of darkness. I talk about God and they hate the art of us. Well, if you hating on God, you must be in the thought of us. I'm yelling Gehenna, Gehenna, Virgin and Eva. Come on my side and turn me from the evil. Talking about God and they hating the art of us. Well, if you hating on God, you must be in the thought of us. I'm yelling Gehenna, Gehenna, Virgin and Eva. Come on my side and turn me from the evil. Lately, man, I've been having these sick illusions. Like I don't understand what's the plan, don't switch confusions. The mind of a man has so many institutions. You can have your wild out, young and dumb and that nuisance. I was trying to talk to these people, but they didn't like that now. And I ain't had nobody talk those words like of that. Tell me that I ain't about it, I'ma say like no now. Cause I've been diving in that water and you like in the ground. I don't think life is a game or that you bound to lose. Even when you winning, you still found up on the news. But how you just found up in the booze in the street with no shoes, popping the blues. Just cause some people doing the blues, bro. People taking lives just to prove a point. And then their lives get taken. Now tell me what that point proves. Hit it and easier, straight up knucklehead fools. I'm the chosen one, I couldn't even choose. Just do what I do and everybody parties me and bounces to the track. I be like Pastor Rock, Pastor Brown, Pastor give it back. Who claiming they the Israel, they can see that. Got their chicks with fucking cause they really wicked and whack. No way set. In your work, it's like I'm working hard. Say they the best rappers out, but with no vocab, standing in the rain. I ain't waiting on no cab, I be waiting on them slabs of the water and the doper. Ain't rapping to make you mean a small island big dreamer. Hello success, I seen you make mistakes I didn't mean to. What goes around, comes around, karma I done seen her. It all happens for a reason, so I can't blame her. Know that I'm pumping my pockets of stuff in the life that I live, and I swear that I love it. Don't know when above it, but the fam and the man in the mirror. Made up my mind to say how I don't hear her. Started a hobby, now it's a career, and I won't stop trying to cop me a leer. And I stay fly like I'm up in the air. I think that it's weird if I make you aware of what I'm doing. Been doing what I'm pursuing. The music turned to a movement. The team turned to a movement. Can't life, y'all act like you knew it. Who do it like I do it? And I rose from the jungle, made it out as a student. Upper echelon. I turned the pentagon into a hexagon. Got that work like a Mexican. I be like, ride down to your kingdom. Hey, now they all serving. Hey, chop the head off them snakes. I don't mess with no serpents. Bro, I get ghosts like it's first shit. Thank the Holy Ghost for his service. And I be all in her cervix. Swerve this, serve this. Hottest boy on the surface. And I stayed on that girl, I don't serve a chick. Cause I got exactly what you came for. And I go up and down on this skateboard. Hey, got a body of work. It's like I'm working ass. Say they the best rappers out. But with no vocab, standing in the rain. I ain't waiting on no cab. I be waiting on them slabs of the Walla and the Dover. Ain't a rapping to make you mean a small island big dreamer. Hello success, I seen you make mistakes I didn't mean to. What goes around, comes around. Karma, I done seen her. It all happens for a reason, so I can't blame her. Nah, I can't blame her. Thanks.
So here goes. This cannot be completed this evening. With all of that talent, I'm gonna do my thing, so I'm ready. Seeking a Job by Louise Bennett. Good morning, ma. Please, if you want any girl for work today, beg you tell me if the work is hard and how much a week you pay. I don't have no ceremonial, but you can't ease your mind. For the last girl me work with, never have no fault for find. Though when she start take liberty with me lift up and walk out. For as old time people say, if you play with dog, them lick him out. I wouldn't stand her face in this, for I wasn't company. Her name is Mazawati, and mine is Florida. It mark upon the long neck back with the sweet smelling water. I cook and wash, but say come my nails, I don't clean floor again. But I can get a girl to do that for you now and then. If I come in later morning time, no bother getting a fits. For every night, me have to go catch for me quarter dance or Ritz. Pure high-class servant girl go there. And Ritz is all the craze. Cause lots of Buster man to Union boys go dance here nowadays. It's move off, you don't move off, ma. You know, employ me. Go on, your face tough like a Spanish tongue handcuff. I'm up upon the ark, you born. I'm feeling good this morning out of broke a fight. But I don't feel in a bad mood for go sleep at jail tonight. What you see behind the wall, stay behind it. Okay, now it's time for Ms. Powell to do our sectional prizes as we showcase talent behind where? Bars? Her Majesty's Northward Prison. Ms. Powell, please.
One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, thanks and praise the Lord, and I will feel alright. Alright, at this time, I need to call all the contestants to the stage, please. All the contestants. I'm going to ask Miss Melanie Bryan at this time. I'm going to ask Miss White to grace us with her presence. All the contestants, we have a certificate for you, a certificate of participation. First contestant, Letitia Jarrett. The next person, Kurt Ebanks. Phillip Rose, Devon Anglin, James McLean, Leighton Rankin, Christopher Miles, last but by no means least.